Okay, I think we're good, Terry.
Okay, thank you. So it is January the 11th, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Community Facilities District Committee for the Altadena Library District. And as usual, we will have the call to order is at 3:09 p.m. And as usual, we would like to read into the record a land acknowledgement. The Altadena Library District acknowledges its presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Altadena is located on the stolen homeland of the Hahamanga tribal band. The traditional territory of the Gabrielino and Tongva is referred to as Tonganvar, which includes the areas currently known as Los Angeles County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, parts of Orange County, as well as the 4 southern Channel Islands. Entities such as the U.S. government and non-native settlers have subjected the Gabrielino and Tongva people to historic and continuing injustices, including genocide, forced displacement, and cultural and linguistic erasure. Altadena Library commits to learning, educating, and informing its staff and residents of present-day Altadena about the rich history, vibrant communities, and culture of the Gabrielino Tongva people, past and present, through our collection of development, resources, and program offerings. Thank you. And now I'd like to open the session with a roll call. Committee member Cauliflower.
Here.
And Trustee Andrews is here. We are missing today Trustee Boone Lim, who's not shown yet. So we do have the quorum. All right, first on our list of business is to ask if there's any reordering of the agenda items. And Doug, if you have none, we can proceed to the next item.
I have none.
Okay. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. So I would need a motion to adopt today's agenda.
I so move.
And I second. And we will take a roll call. It's all very formal during this section, Doug. So member Cauliflower.
Here.
You should say aye or nay.
Aye.
And Trustee Andrews is an aye as well. So the agenda has been adopted. And Nikki, is there any public comment on non-agenda items?
None at this time.
Okay. The next thing is the approval of the consent calendar, Doug. And this again is one that takes a motion to get started in a second. And this is going to be for 2 series of minutes that we had in October 3rd, the October 3rd meeting and December 14th meeting. The December 14th meeting was actually adjourned without a meeting because we did not have a quorum. So what I need would be a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay. Move that we approve the consent calendar.
And I second that, again with a verbal vote. Member Cauliflower.
Aye.
And Trustee Andrews is an aye as well. Okay, thank you for that. That's business that sort of segues us into the very first thing that we'll talk about. We have no unfinished business, which is item 4, and we now go to new business, which is item 5A, and it's about the CFD committee. And Nikki, do you mind if I take this section of it?
Yes, please do.
Okay. As we put together the agenda, I realized that we really don't have a sort of an orientation page for what's going on. And you probably have many questions. So what I'd like to do is go over these pages number 8 and 9, and talk a little bit about what's happened with the Community Facilities District Committee and what we'd like to do going forward and so on.
Okay.
So if you're on that page, we'll start about the CFD committee. And if you've read that, you'll see that we were established with a resolution that the Board of Trustees made back in 2020.
Yeah, excuse me, Terry. I don't have that document.
Okay.
So I'll take notes and listen carefully, but maybe we can follow up and send it to me and I refer to it later. Would that be acceptable?
Yes, it would be. And we'll make sure that we have your email and so on.
Doug, I will email you the agenda package right now. which is
Okay,
where that's included.
okay,
And I can continue while that's being sent, Doug. Let us know when you receive it.
okay.
Just
Will do.
with the description about what's been going on. We had a special election for Measure Z, which was presented to the community because we needed at least 2/3 vote to approve the resolution of the Community Facilities District to raise funds for needed repairs at the library and also operating costs going forward. And I think you're probably familiar with the fact that we did get more than 2/3 vote from the public when we did that vote in 2020. Excuse me, we needed 2/3 and we got closer to about 75%, 72%, which was a very good mandate for us for that issue. We were asking for a limit of $24 million and we came in more like $23 million, and we'll go over that in a few minutes. And that money is to be used for, it was raised by selling bonds, and those bonds will be paid back by property taxes that we collect going forward. And we will use the funds to rebuild the library. And going way back and comparatively way back in our history, about 4 or 5 years ago, as a new board was sort of coming in, we realized that there was a lot of infrastructure repair that needed to happen in the library to the tune back then of about $11 million. And we had no idea where the money was going to come from. So we debated over this for a couple of years until we finally went to the public with the notion about raising funds through this proposition of this Measure Z, in which we would raise property taxes by 10 cents per square foot, depending upon what the property is. And as a realtor, I'm sure, or I would think that you've seen some of these property tax bills and were able to sort of look at what the assessment is for every house, not every house, but houses that you were dealing with. And that has happened now. We've hit the property tax rolls and people are making the payments now. They go into a fund that funds us directly at the library.
Okay, I got the email, by the way.
Okay, good. So when you look at page 8 on that email, and you go about halfway down,
Okay,
what you should see there, the CFD committee is a standing committee that meets quarterly,
got it.
is composed of 2 library board members and 1 appointed citizen member. So the board members are me and Boone Lim, and you are a citizen member.
Gotcha.
This board replaces a larger board, or a larger committee, I should say, that we had that wound up its tenure, if you will, a month ago in December. And on that version of the committee, we had 2 board members and we had 3 citizen members. The citizen members were Amy Leifert, who I know you know, Kim Kenny, and also Jim Vitale. And they were the voices of the public, basically, that helped us guide this process. When we first started, there was a lot of work to be done, and Nikki and her staff did a really great job of keeping us focused and getting all of the things done that we needed to make sure that we had good contracts, that they met the description of contracts that we needed to have, that we looked at a lot of vendors before we made a choice, etc. So it was a very rigorous and collaborative sequence of events that allowed us over the course of about a year to get together the services that you see right under that paragraph, starting with a bond issuance team and debt structure. You see that?
Yep.
We screened several companies and found Hilltop Securities to be the one that we wanted to work with and signed a contract with them. Another major, sort of contract that we did that needed to be done for the project was bond disclosure and legal counsel. And our legal counsel is known shorthand by BB&K. It stands for Best and Krieger. And they've been our attorneys for about 5 years now. And they've done a pretty good job. We're always looking at the market to see if there's anybody else out there. But right now we've got BB&K, and they're the ones that did the official statement, which is a very huge document, a voluminous document about what could go wrong with investing your money into our bonds. It has to be done legally. And they also are the legal counsel that we use regarding tax issues and so on. So they're part of the team. Hilltop Securities has dropped off a little bit because
We lost Terry.
pardon me.
Are you there? Your picture went away.
Yeah, you froze for just a second, Terry. Okay,
you go.
there you're back.
I've been having some trouble with this and also with my microphone too. So if you see my microphone going out, or let me know. And I don't know what the problem is.
Oh, and Terry, not to interrupt, but Boone just emailed me back that he'll be joining shortly.
Okay, thank you. And then we also have a municipal advisor who works with us. It's Urban Futures is the name of the advisor, and Doug Anderson is the actual person that's assigned to us. You'll meet him in meetings coming up. I don't believe he's on today, is he, Nikki? Yeah. We have a municipal advisor is Urban Futures, a special tax consultant and disseminating agent is NBS, which is a local tax consulting agency. And they help us collect the money. They set rules and also do follow-up on people that can't make the payments, the property tax payments through normal means. Nikki, what other kinds of services do you find them doing for that?
NBS, is that who we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll oversee the process of like when people file for exemptions each year. They're the ones that prepare and put all the property tax rule information out. So, any question I have about the CFD, and I'm going to bring Boone in right now. CFD related or tax collection questions, anything like that, we would refer to them because they're the ones that work directly with the county for us.
And then finally, in the team that we have our fiscal agent, which is US Bank. And all of these vendors went under a rigorous process for hiring them, which include looking at many other vendors that do the same thing. And I must say, Nikki and her team, and I think the committee as well, did a good job of selecting the right people. That took a lot of work though, and that's why our committee was fairly large at first with 5 people. Going forward, a lot of this is on autopilot, but all of it needs to be overseen. So I consider our committee now to be more of an oversight committee with you as a community member to kind of help keep an eye on things. And that includes where the money's going. Are we meeting all of the standards that we need to use the money? So there's going to be issues that we have to vote on as a committee to make sure that things are going well. And we will report back to the main Altadena Library Board of Trustees with what's going on. And if we need to make resolutions or pass amendments there, we will do that as we go forward.
Gotcha.
So I hope that's a good overview of kind of where we've been so far and where we'd like to go in the coming year.
No, that's very helpful. Thank you, because I didn't.
Just to conclude the sort of outline of us as a committee is we do work under the Roberts Rule of Order. I think that's what it's called, right, Nikki?
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, parliamentary procedure, but
Parliamentary
it's,
procedure.
yeah, I think we adopted like a little bit less stringent than Robert's rules, but we do follow parliamentary procedure, yeah.
And as a standing committee with regular scheduled meetings and a published agenda, we're also subject to the laws of the Brown Act as well. And as we go through this, maybe starting next meeting, actually, we'll have a little review of the Brown Act itself. And I know Trustee Boone Lynn can work that, can use that as well. So we'll look for that in future meetings. So in our ongoing role, and Boone, just to let you know where we are, you've got the packet in front of you. We're at the bottom of page 8. On an ongoing role, we'll monitor the short-term investment of bond proceeds. We'll provide feedback on capital improvement projects, and we support the solicitation of community feedback throughout the process. And as I said before, we'll meet quarterly every second Wednesday of the meeting month going forward at 3 p.m. Any questions, Doug?
Not at this point in time. That's
Okay.
all very helpful. Thank you.
Boone, hang on to the rest of the presentation here. If you got any questions when we're done too about what's already transpired, we can go over those, okay? The next thing I wanted to put together was just a simple management chart of how the Community Facilities District works, how our committee works. We've got the Altadena Board of Trustees to whom everybody reports, including the library director. You can see the arrow there. But we as a committee also report to them as well. And then we've got these other agencies, U.S. Bank, Best and Krieger, Urban Futures, NBS, and when needed, Hilltop Securities report to Nikki. So she's really, her and her staff really have her hands full regarding just the mechanics of what's going on with the Community Facilities District. In addition to that, her group is also helping with another related but separate issue, and that is how are we actually spending our money with contractors and vendors and people that are doing the actual hands-on work of building and rebuilding the library. We as a committee won't get involved with that, but Nikki is with her group and may require our assistance from time to time going forward. And Nikki, would you like to add anything to that profile?
No, I think it's a really good overview. As Terry mentioned, most things run through me. The other committee that we have is an ad hoc committee called the Facilities Committee. We meet weekly with our capital project management firm, the architectural firm, and others, depending on what we're working on at the time. And it would probably be my goal, if not every CFD committee meeting, at least every other, to have an update for you from the Facilities Committee, just so you guys have a general understanding of where we're at with the building projects. As you'll see from our next agenda item, which is the bond proceeds financial update, it spells out how the money's been spent and who it's been spent with, but we'll provide some kind of narrative around where we're at in terms of the building projects as well. But again, you guys won't be involved in like the day-to-day decision making around the building projects, just, again, the oversight to make sure the proceeds are being spent in a fiscally responsible manner.
Right.
So there are certain catch-up difficulties that you as new members face, joining a board that's already had a formation and some momentum and so on. But this really is sort of a slight change in direction of what we're doing. Our responsibilities are changing, so it is a good way to segue to this new committee structure we have. Boone, as you looked at the parts that we had talked about before you got online, are there any questions related to those first few pages? Not that there should be, but if there are, let us know now.
No, I don't think so, unless I'm on the wrong package. I was just reviewing the structure on the other screen. Sorry about that.
That package that you have should be the agenda for the Community Facilities District meeting, January. Right. Okay, then you're on the right one. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Pops up as we keep going here. Let us know. The next item on the agenda then is going to be the capital fund and bond proceeds financial update.
Yes.
We're going to talk about this. Right?
Yep. Okay. So thank you. Welcome, Doug. So happy to have you on the committee with us, and welcome to Trustee Lim to the CFD committee. So as Terry highlighted, we're going to be giving you a quarterly update on the capital and bond proceeds, just so that you guys are familiar with what's been going on in terms of the spending. So currently, and I don't want to just regurgitate the whole report that was put together by Christy Even, who works for Eide Bailey, which is our accounting firm. But we did move some of most of the proceeds into some other government securities and treasury funds, I believe. So up to this point, we have made, just reviewed it. Why can't I see it? Generated approximately $40,000 in interest income as of October 31st, 2022. We did prepare these financials for the December meeting, which didn't take place. So in the future, we'll have the numbers up to the month before. So we would have had December 31st, but because this meeting got moved, we're looking at October 31st at this point. We have expended a total amount of $525,183 from the bond project fund. And as you can see on page 11, most of that went towards the capital project management and architectural work that we've done. Most of the other people or vendors on that list are those that have done like reports or studies for us of either the main library or the Bob Lucas Library. So as you can see from page 12, we currently have a total of $22,114,315 available. So we're in great shape, and we are making interest because we've moved that money. We do have approximately 6 million liquid. So, in the event that we need money right away, we have access to it, and that's being held with US Bank, which is our trust agent. Currently, so just so you understand, when we get a bill that needs to be paid out of the bond proceeds, we submit a requisition to US Bank. We don't write a check for it and then get reimbursed. So all of the expenses are being directly paid from US Bank, which is a much cleaner way for all of us. They also oversee that, like the work that was done with Doug Anderson and our municipal advisor in the reinvestment is all done through US Bank because they have to hold all of our bond proceeds for us. So hopefully there's not a lot of questions. If you have them, I'm happy to ask our accountants to come in the future, but that's basically where we're at right now. And as you can see, not much has been spent so far, but that's because we haven't gone into construction, which is where the bulk majority of the money is going to be spent.
All right.
So happy to answer or take questions and provide answers later if I can't answer them for you.
Okay.
If I could just jump in with a comment, Nikki.
Sure.
And as you look at page 11, there's also a payoff list there for the Altadena Library District of $267,000. And that was money that was actually borrowed against these bond proceeds to get started, early started. Is that right, Nikki?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, good point, Terry. That does look a little confusing. So until we cashed out the bonds and got the money in the bank, which was like in the spring of 2022, we were paying for like Racklin Partners, which is our capital project management firm, and Anderson Brule Architects. We were just writing the checks to them. So when the bond proceeds became available, we uploaded all of our invoices from those payments, and then we're reimbursed from the bond proceeds.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's what that income looks like to the library district. But again, moving forward, it's going to be much cleaner because all the bills will be paid directly by US Bank.
And then just one more comment on that item is sort of a structural thing, is that the Altadena Library District is required to carry a certain amount of cash for operating expenses. So we do have several $1 million, at our beck and call all the time, and we're able to do short-term loans like this pretty easily as an institution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're required to have 50% of our operational funds or operating balance basically in the bank at any given time. So that this year is just over $2 million. But again, we prefer not to use general fund money if we can help it. Is there any other questions about that?
I don't have anything at this point in time.
And do you both feel like the information being provided through this report will suffice in the future? If not, like as you continue to review it, if there's things that you think you have questions about or would like to see in addition to, I can always pass that along to our accountant who prepares this for us.
Yeah, I think I have a question on like some of the mapping because I'm not familiar with the organizations in terms of clarity, right? For Epic LE, NBS, TGR Geotechnical, if there can be a bracket pointer to where in the capital fund, whether that's administration, project management, architect, etc. I think that would just help with a little bit of clarity.
Sure, not a problem. And if not, maybe somewhere up there, we define the work they did so you can see what type of firm they are. Sure. Absolutely. Are you curious about any specific vendor at this point? But
No,
yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, I'm just getting onboarded, right? So these are just all
Mhm.
numbers flying across. So it'll take a little bit to get situated.
Yeah, totally understand. Okay. We'll do that in the future.
And then Nikki, you did mention that we'll get closer to the meeting date with these financials going forward. Right now, the best we can do is October, but we'll be about a month away from that by the time we get to our next meeting in April. Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. We actually did get an updated report, but unfortunately it wasn't in time to publish the package. Let me look at what she sent me really quick.
Are the financials done quarterly or monthly?
Well, our financials are done on a monthly basis. So we take the financials to the board and it's for the month prior. So like, for example, this month, the board meets on January 23rd and we will have the financials from December.
Okay.
Let me see that. I don't know if it will be the month before with this group because you meet earlier in the month. So we may not be able to put that together from the previous month, but like she did send me financials that were through December 31st. So I will do my best for it to go, for the previous month. But again, this meeting takes place the second week.
Yeah, that's kind of tight. So
Yeah, so
that
it
makes
may
sense.
be the month before that, but we'll do the best we can to have it as updated as possible.
Understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions on that, excuse me. The next item is number 5C, which is Senate Bill 165, Local Agency Special Tax and Bond Accountability Act Report for the Altadena District CFD. Well, Nikki, I'll let you proceed with that.
Okay. So NBS, which is our special tax assessment firm, as well as our CFD administrator, prepared this report and sent it to me and let me know that we needed to file it with our governing board, so our board of trustees, by January 1st of 2023. So it was included in the package for the CFD committee to look at ahead of the board meeting in December. Unfortunately, we did not end up meeting, so we did present this. So we complied with the rule to present it to the board before the deadline of January the 1st. I did ask Christine, who is our CFD administrator, our main contact with NBS, to provide me with a little information about what it is. And she let me know that the SB 165 report is to be filed annually with the governing body of the agency. It needs to be presented and no other action is required. So it's informational. We don't need a resolution or any vote to be taken on it. So we did comply with that by showing, presenting it to the board in December. This needs to be completed annually to comply with section 50075.1 of the California Code. The report is a summary of the proceeds collected, spent, and the status of the project. The purpose of this report is to demonstrate to the voters that they spend these funds on the intended facilities and services. The report provides accountability measures to help with voters' confidence. So that's why this report is being filed. We'll do it on an annual basis. And if you have any other questions about it, I can take those to Christine with NBS and then get back to you at our next meeting. But that's what the report is, just so you're aware.
Sorry, Nikki, is the totality of the report that bottom section, or am I missing something?
Nope, it's just the one page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a disclosure more than anything, just so we're being transparent that the money we're collecting is being spent and what it's being spent on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki, knowing NBS and all of their professionals there, this is a routine thing for them that gets filed many times by their office, right?
Yeah, there's this one, and then come closer to the end of the tax year, or I mean the fiscal year, there's several other things that they file for us with the county and the state. So that's basically why we have NBS on board, is to make sure we're meeting all of our disclosures and reporting.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
No.
Are you good, Boone? Boone, are you okay? No more questions?
We can't hear
Oh.
you for some reason. Oh,
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I had a really silly question on that disclosure. There's a
sure.
call out for reserve. Is that double counting, or is that just money that's set aside by the library separately?
It's
What is
set
that
aside.
reserve number?
Yeah, it's set aside by the trust bank in the event that, like, let's say we don't collect the debt service to be able to pay that back. That money was put aside once they receive the bond proceeds as a reserve payment in the event that we'd ever need to use it.
Okay.
Down the road, it will get spent, but we're required to have that reserve amount set aside.
Right, but is that reserve amount the same as the capital amount that we're keeping on hand, or is that separate?
The other reserve we talked about was more related to the general fund, not the bond proceeds. This is basically what a debt service payment would be on the bond.
Okay.
Yeah, and I brought that up as such up only to sort of broaden, the new members, perspective on what's happening at the library. There's all kinds of rules that we need to operate under as a special district, and it's not to have them, but I'll tell you. Okay. Going forward here, let's see. We're now down to 5D, the CFD meeting schedule for 2023. This is the only item that will be actionable in today's meeting. And Nikki, I'll let you take over on that.
Okay, so this is just the dates that we've laid out for the calendar year of 2023. We previously were meeting, we met monthly for the first year, but then moved to a quarterly schedule, which seems to work out well. And we'll again be providing all of these same reports basically every 3 months. So what we're proposing are January 11th, which is today, April 12th, July 12th, and October 11th. All of those would take place at 3 p.m. Currently, we are able to meet virtually because of a resolution that we're passing each month with the board. That may not continue to be the case, in which case we would have you come to the library and conduct the meeting in person. Catalina and I will keep you updated on what that is going to look like moving forward. And I did want to point out that we selected these months because they are the month prior to when the budget committee meets. There are going to be things that I believe that we'll want the CFD committee to weigh in on, to vet basically before it goes to the budget committee in the following month. So for example, I don't know off the top of my head actually right now. I was thinking about the rate that we're taxing the taxpayers on, which I believe we would take to the CFD committee in April, which would then be a recommendation to the budget committee in May. And then when we form the budget for the fiscal year, that would go to the full board after that. So I do see there's some items that might come up that we'd want you to look at before it goes to the budget committee. And the budget committee meets the following month after these. So I just did want to provide a little context as to why we selected these months as well.
Okay.
So just want to verify that these work with all of your schedules. As Terry mentioned, it's the second Wednesday of these every 3 months at 3 p.m.
Should be fine.
Okay, so Boone, if this schedule works for you, it works for me as well. What we need to do now is get a motion to pass the committee meeting schedule for 2023. In a second, and we'll go ahead and vote on it.
Okay, so I can pass the motion.
Okay,
Second.
great. It's been moved and seconded. No more discussion, I take it. So I went off the screen, I know when I said that. So trustee Lim.
Aye.
Member Cauliflower.
Aye.
And trustee Andrews is an aye, so it's been passed unanimously. Thanks a lot, Nikki. And then finally, there's an item number 5C, citizen oversight, Alpena Town Council liaison appointment process.
I don't think this is something we need to do, Terry. I didn't catch that on the agenda earlier.
And I didn't catch the idea that it was an action item too, so.
Yeah, I think we can just take no action on that because we've agreed with the Altadena Town Council that they will appoint a liaison. So I don't think there's any formal action that needs to be taken by this committee or the Board of Trustees. It's just they'll be appointing a liaison. And I talked to Doug, I believe I talked to Doug about this, that hopefully it's for the full year. I think it doesn't make sense to rotate the person.
No.
And Doug was just reelected, so we could actually try to keep him on for 2 years. We'll see.
Yeah, that is true.
So that completes our active agenda. We've got that down now to number 6, which is announcements and planning. No announcements, but you can see that 6A is proposed future agenda item. And I would like to suggest to you, Nikki, that we have a slide at our next meeting that talks a little bit about the Brown Act, so we can say that this committee is oriented to that sort of thing.
Sure. We will put something together.
Are there any other future agenda items that committee would like to put on?
Not for me.
Not for me either.
Okay. And I'll plan on having our accountant attend next time so that if you do have more in-depth financial questions, she'll be here to answer them as well.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn.
Okay, hearing no dissension to that, we are adjourned at 3:45 p.m. And thank you very much for joining this committee. I hope it is fulfilling for you. I think it will be, and we'll have success going forward.
Okay. Nikki, typically when will the agenda come out? How far in advance of the meeting? Because I don't know. I may have missed the email or I just never did get it. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it came through as just a calendar invite that had the agenda attached. So I'll talk to Catalina to make sure that we send an email as well as a calendar invite. We have to publish based on the Brown Act rules by the Friday prior to the meeting. So that would be the latest that you would get it is the Friday before.
Okay, well, I know now to look for it. Chances are it was attached to the invite and I just missed it.
Yeah, no problem. I think we try to send usually an email as well as a calendar invite. So you're seeing it 2 ways.
Okay,